Well, hey, my name is Willie Lawson, and this is Fight Back Media TV. This content is going to be exclusively for locals.com and Fight Back Media TV. Uh, my name is Willie Lawson, and again, this is a discussion or an explanation or an educational video concerning the Tulsa Race Massacre that you've probably heard so much about. Because, why not rip the band-aid off something and have the wound fester some more for political gain? Why not? And why not tell the whole story? Well, because if you hear the rest of the story, thank you, Paul Harvey, it has a little different taste to it. So let's go ahead with the story that we already know. The Tulsa Daily World on June 2nd, 1921, morning edition headline read, dead estimated at 100. City is quiet. $2,000 to start for relief. Negroes gladly accept guards. 5,000 Negro refugees guarded in camp at county fairgrounds. So, fewer than 24 hours after the Ku Klux Klan leaders, along with the Tulsa Police Department and the Oklahoma National Guard, carried out one of the nation's deadliest and most destructive massacres. Tulsa's paper of record was already at work crafting a narrative that would shape the way that the city would think about the massacre in Greenwood, which is the area where Black Wall Street was, for the next 100 years. But thanks to recent scholarship and pop culture depictions of the massacre in Greenwood, more and more Americans are coming to know the story of the Tulsa Race Massacre that destroyed Black Wall Street. But the common narrative is this: the neighborhood never recovered from the massacre. This is incorrect. In fact, Greenwood's resilient residents rebuilt their community almost immediately after the events, in defiance of hastily enacted racist zoning codes, giving rise to the neighborhood's moniker of Black Wall Street after, not before, the massacre. Okay, now we've heard that they destroyed Black Wall Street. What we're finding out is they didn't call it Black Wall Street until afterwards. And while the price cannot be put on the 300 lives lost, the violence that really destroyed Black Wall Street wasn't physical, but structural. In December of 1921, Red Cross relief leader Maurice Willows compiled a report of a more accurate account of the destruction in Greenwood. The report estimated a death toll of just under 300 and 714 wounded. It also reported that his team of 44 staffers and several volunteers had provided aid to more than 5,000 people, and that the 1,256 homes that were destroyed, 764 of them were already being rebuilt. So there were 1,256 homes destroyed. More than half of them almost immediately were being rebuilt. The speed at which residents began to rebuild their neighborhood is factually astonishing, especially considering that within a week, the near total destruction of Greenwood, the mayor, the city commission, and a group led by the KKK leader, W. Tate Brady, called the Tulsa Real Estate Exchange, did everything in their power to stop them. The Tulsa City Commission hastily worked on rezoning Greenwood from residential to industrial and redraw fire restrictions, stating that buildings must be built using only brick, not wood. The commission also unveiled a master plan for the district, calling for Tulsa's black neighborhood to be moved further north, away from the railroad tracks and out of the downtown area, freeing up valuable land for the real estate exchange planned to develop there. Insurance company refused to pay claims for any of the Greenwood property owners, siding with the mayor T.D. Evans and police chief John Gustavin, who blamed black Tulsans for the destruction and criminally charged 55 black men for inciting a riot. And their names were not cleared until 1996. Thus, Greenwood's rebuilding was an act of defiance. Homes were built under the cover of night so that patrolling police could not catch anyone violating the new building codes. Others took a legal route. Attorney B.C. Franklin, who had moved to Tulsa just 2 months before Greenwood was attacked on May 31st, sued the city of Tulsa, the mayor, the commission, and the police chief and several other defendants, and was victorious. A panel of 3 Tulsa County judges agreed with Franklin that the city did not have the right to prevent landowners in Greenwood from rebuilding their homes and businesses. It just weren't homes that we rebuilt. The businesses came back too. A September 14th, 1922 article in Oklahoma City's Black Dispatch celebrated Lola Williams' reopening her Williams Dreamland Theater and the family confectionery and office suites on the corner of Greenwood Avenue and Archer Street. They just were not going to be kept down. They were determined not to give up, recalled Eunice Jackson, a survivor of the massacre, and in an interview for Eddie Fay Gates in 1997's book, They Came Searching. So they rebuilt Greenwood, and it was just wonderful. And it became known as the Black Wall Street of America. See, and this is, again, we have to be able to, I think we have to be able to understand what actually happened. And I know the emotion of it. It's horrifying that these people would just attack and murder, basically, these people. It's horrendous. But we're missing the best part of the story. The best part of the story is the resilience of the people who lived in Greenwood. That's the important part. So another survivor, Juanita Alexander Lewis Hopkins, told Gates the North Tulsa after the massacre was even more impressive than before. That is when Greenwood became known as the Black Wall Street of America. Film footage shot by Reverend Solomon Sir Jones from 1925-1928 shows bustling, thriving Greenwood, confirming recent data that collected by the Tulsa Historical Society, showing that a few short years after the 1921 race massacre, Greenwood's homes and businesses came back. It's difficult to understate the scale of Greenwood's recovery. Unlike other disasters, like the 1889 Johnstown flood in Pennsylvania or the San Francisco 1906 earthquake, Greenwood was left to rebuild entirely on its own. What often gets erased in writings about the Tulsa Race Massacre is the 45 years of prosperity in Greenwood after the attack and the events that led to the neighborhood's second destruction. The Federal Highway Aid Act of 1965 and 1968. As early as 1957, Tulsa's comprehensive plan included creating a ring road, locally dubbed the Interdispersal Loop, or IDL, a tangle of 4 highways encircling the downtown area, including I-244 and US 75 sections of the IDL, were designed to replace the dense, diverse, mixed-use, mixed-income, pedestrian and transit-oriented Greenwood and Kendall Whittier neighborhoods. In an article in the May 4th, 1967 issue of the Tulsa Tribune, announced the Crosstown Expressway slices across the 100 block of North Greenwood Avenue, across from those very buildings that Edwin Lawrence Goodwin Sr., publisher of the Oklahoma Eagle, describes as once a mecca for the Negro insurance business. I mean, the Negro businesses, a show place. There will still be Greenwood Avenue, but it will be lonely, forgotten, forgotten lane, ducking under the shadows of a big overpass. Despite these protests, the construction of the IDL was completed in 1971. Mabel Little, whose family lost their homes and businesses in the 1921 massacre, rebuilt and lost them again in 1970. Little told the Tulsa Tribune in 1970, "You destroyed everything we had. I was here in it, and the people are suffering more now than they did then." So what the city couldn't steal in 1921 with violence is systematically paved over 50 years later. In an interview for They Came Searching, educator John Holderness said, "Urban renewal not only took away our property, but it was something that was more important: our Black unity, our pride, our sense of achievement and history. We need to regain that. Our youth missed that, and that's why they are lost today, and that's why we are in limbo now." It was interesting where I live. There was a place called the Black Business District. It was Central Avenue. Now, there was no attacks of crop dusting planes dropping sticks of dynamite on people, and there was no death of 300 plus people and 750 or so injured. But the same thing killed Central Avenue that killed Black Wall Street: government. Government that's out of control. Government that literally stole the property from right under people for the greater good. The very same thing that killed Black Wall Street killed Central Avenue here where we live, in Tampa. And I'm sure there were any number of other areas around the country the same thing happened. I think it's okay that we remember what happened to Greenwood. And I think it's more important that we remember the resilience of the people of the Greenwood area, taking what they had, like rising from the phoenix and turning into Black Wall Street. If we're going to remember it, if we're going to talk about it, we got to make sure we talk about all of it. I think it's very, very important that we do that. My name is Willie Lawson. This is Fight Back Media TV. We'll see you when we see you. Bye now.